Good evening and welcome to Channel 8 Sports and East Brunswick High School boys basketball. Hi, I'm John Meggiolaro, being joined by Phil Hill for tonight's East Brunswick St. Joseph's game. And Phil, this is a natural rivalry that's developed over the years.
John, and when you think about St. Joseph's East Brunswick, you're right. It's a great rivalry, one of the real healthy rivalries we have in Middlesex County. And I was thinking on the way coming over here, we can't help but remember that year that Larry Bonheimer was playing, and the place was packed, and the stands with East Brunswick fans were saying, "What's happened? What's the matter with Larry?" And the St. Joe's fans were saying, "Derek dropped the ball," and they don't even play football. They get very intense, and it's a good, healthy rivalry.
Well, East Brunswick comes in, unfortunately, a disappointing 8-12. St. Joe's, however, comes in 16-2. One of the top teams in the conference in the county and also in the state. So there's a lot on the line here for both teams in terms of pride as well as record.
St. Joe's is just on a hot streak. They beat J.P. Stevens last Friday. They beat Woodbridge, a good Woodbridge team, yesterday, and they seem to be on a roll. Coach Kuchar feels that this team, though, still hasn't arrived. He still thinks they have some wrinkles to work out, and if they can do that, he feels they're going to be a very good team.
Okay, and talking with head coach Frank Knoppenberger of East Brunswick, here are the keys that he felt are important for tonight's game. The first thing that East Brunswick has to do is stop St. Joe's fast break and feel they can move that ball down the court.
They can move the ball down court. They just have good ball handlers, as all St. Joe's teams do, and they can do whatever they have to do. If they have to slow it down, they can do that. If they have to run with you, they're able to do that as well.
Okay, also East Brunswick must limit them to one shot. That is, they get one shot, no rebound, and get the ball. They need to execute on offense, 2 passes to break that defense down. Apparently they're a pressing team, St. Joe's. So East Brunswick's got its work cut out, and there are a number of other keys to the game that we'll get to as the game progresses. But it's East Brunswick St. Joe's tonight at East Brunswick High School, and this is a natural rivalry, as we said. Over the years, there's no secret that many students from East Brunswick attend St. Joe's, and that's been a cause of friction over the years and a cause of competitive feeling between the two teams.
Well, I mentioned that to Coach Kuchar, that another coach had mentioned that St. Joe's is often called East Brunswick Catholic, and he says, well, this year you can't prove it. We have one player that's from East Brunswick this year, Paul Durkee's younger brother, who's playing for the St. Joe's team. So he says in the past it's been true, but not so this year.
Okay, one thing we want to point out before the game, we have a note that Kyle Tenora will not play tonight. He sprained an ankle in a game against Perth Amboy, and so Coach Knoppenberger has brought up Jeff Gershoff to replace Kyle, and so we'll see if Jeff gets in the game. And the East Brunswick team, a team, as we've said before here on Channel 8, they have struggled, and that's been evident. But in addition, they've come a long way. We've seen some growth, some maturity on the part of Bernie Willis. Steen Vorden, Brian Forte has begun to get that basketball feel and has really been the leader for this team.
He certainly has. I tell you, this East Brunswick team is going to be a spoiler, I believe. I mean, their record this year certainly has been a disappointment, but Coach Knoppenberger has made it clear he's not disappointed in the players. He's disappointed in the record, but not the players. And he feels that they're going to hurt some teams with a lot better record down the stretch, particularly in the county tournament.
And that's it. East Brunswick has not qualified for the state tournament. They were not at the 500 level at the time of the bid, but they will be in the GMC tournament. And I think one thing we have to mention, and Gene Haley mentioned it the other day in a newspaper article, and that is East Brunswick, through Charlie King and Frank Knoppenberger, have not ducked any team in the state. They played in that tough McCorston tournament, and they've played Linden, St. Joe's here in the GMC, Stevens. They've played some of the top teams in the state. Phillipsburg.
They haven't ducked a soul, and they're going to be better for it. The program is well respected around the state. And if I'm a high school player, I'd rather know that I've played some of the best, even if I've lost, rather than playing the weaker teams and perhaps gaining a victory.
Okay, East Brunswick and St. Joe's should be starting off in just a moment. In addition, and a nice feature tonight, is that the East Brunswick High School basketball team is going to honor senior players and their parents. And this is in thanks for the support and cooperation that these parents have provided for these young people over the years. And so we'll stay on the air for that because we think it's important and it's a nice touch.
It is a nice touch. Well deserved. These players come out here a lot of times you know, if you're a parent, they put in an awful lot of time. And if you're a fortunate parent to have a youngster involved in athletics and also doing well academically, then you're very lucky. And East Brunswick has an awful lot of good student athletes.
Phil, you mentioned, you know, the basketball program here and how well respected it is. And just to give some people some insight, the 8th grade team is still undefeated. Their record is now 12-0.
Wow.
The JV team, I believe, is still undefeated here. And their record has got to be 12 or 13-0 at best, or at least, rather.
I think they lost one, John.
Did they lose one?
I think
okay.
So.
And the East Brunswick, for those interested, will host the JV tournament, which starts February 28th right here at East Brunswick High School. So the entire tournament will be held here, and East Brunswick will play host. And finally, just again, the 9th grade team has only one loss. So you talk about some depth coming up in that feeder program. It's here.
I'll tell you, and probably a good reason for that is what happened last week with the clinic that Knoppenberger and his players have put on. They're putting on their last one tomorrow night, Wednesday. And they had 40 youngsters come out originally. And like I said, it's good for the community. It's good for the players to help these young kids. And the young kids get a big thrill out of having these varsity players show them some of their skills.
I agree. And this is what has to be done if you're going to develop a program in any town. And Frank Knoppenberger realizes that that's a vital part of the business, of the program, getting kids interested at a young age and developing those skills where they learn to dribble and pass the ball and develop the shot.
Well, I just think it's great when the community and the school system shows concern for the younger players. It's just it's just invaluable when that happens.
Phil, we'd be remiss if we didn't point out that a good friend of ours and a broadcast buddy, Jim Allender of the Sentinel, is not with us tonight. And I know his loyal fans out there will be somewhat disappointed.
I haven't kept up with wrestling and all the other sports that Jimmy usually deals with. And we'll probably be lacking in some statistics, but we'll do the best we can. And Jim will survive without you.
Phil, let's talk a little bit about the last time these two teams met.
Good.
St. Joe's beat them handily by 20 points, 85-65. And so, you know, 20 points in high school is a big margin. And so I think East Brunswick's got something they want to prove tonight.
I think you're right, and I guarantee you one thing. It will not be 20 points this game. I guarantee you're going to see a good game. Even Coach Kuchar for St. Joe's pointed out that East Brunswick's big men hadn't developed as well as they have. And the big men have gotten better down the stretch, and they were a little tentative early in the year. And I just think it's going to be a lot tougher game all the way around.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. What does East Brunswick have to do? We look out at St. Joe's on the court. They're a big team. They've got some bulk. They have some height.
They're a big team. East Brunswick's a big team as well. They have to box out well. They have to try to limit them to one shot if they can, and play good defense, John. That is the big key of it. If they play this St. Joe's team like they play J.P. Stevens as consistently well, it's going to be a great game.
Well, we've just been handed a note from Marcus Borden. Phil, I'll let you do the honors.
I'll tell you, this guy's got to be proud. He finally has that halfback that he's been looking for, and his name is, we're talking about Marcus Borden, and his lovely wife just had a newborn. His name is Colin Scott Borden. 8 pounds, 9 ounces, born February the 5th, Friday. So Marcus Borden is in his glory. He's got to be in his glory, folks. He finally has that linebacker. No, he just gave me a signal, John. It's a quarterback all the way.
He's looking for a quarterback. All right, now congratulations go out to Marcus and his wife as we're get ready here for the start of this East Brunswick St. Joe's game. And as I said, there will be a special ceremony that is to take place before the game, and that is honoring senior players and their parents. And as this event occurs, we'll be participating along with you folks at home, and we'll announce those people that come walking out. That is the senior players and their parents. You see Coach Frank Knoppenberger giving some last-minute instructions to some of his team.
And Knopp is, we have a change here, John, a very significant change. Knopp usually has on that green blazer with that tan tie, and today he has on a dark blue blazer with the red tie. So maybe feels the luck out of that blazer is gone, so he's changed up.
Good observation, Phil. I noticed it when I came in, but I didn't want to say anything, particularly to Frank. But we'll see. Maybe this is what's needed. You know, coaches, athletes are very superstitious people. And Jack Brophy, the public announcer for tonight's game, is going to be announcing those seniors and their parents, and so we'll follow along with you here. First out will be Sean Collins with his mother and father, Mr. and Mrs. George Collins. And they're escorted out by one of East Brunswick High School's varsity cheerleaders.
A real nice touch, John.
Next, we have Lou Guglielmo, who is the manager of the team, and Mr. and Mrs. Flavius Guglielmo. And Lou, I understand, is going to Temple University.
Number one in the nation.
Yep.
Oh.
And Lou does an invaluable job for this East Brunswick High School basketball program. We have Robert, or what we know as Buzzy Landis, and his mother and father, Mr. and Mrs. John Landis. I'm not used to the name Robert. Everyone calls him Buzzy. Next, we'll have Mark Mataseski and Mr. and Mrs. John Mataseski. And that's a name that's familiar to East Brunswick High School basketball.
They've seen an awful lot of basketball games, John. They really have. Great ball players all.
Again, these are senior players and their parents. Next, we have Larry Steenvoorden, co-captain of this year's team with Mr. and Mrs. Gerard Steenvoorden. Next is Bernie Willis with Mr. and Mrs. Bernard Willis. And it's good to see the mothers and fathers. We see these faces, we don't know who they are.
That's right.
And we'll rise for our national anthem. And we're just about ready to go here. One senior that was not out on the floor tonight, and that is Kathy Bruno, also a manager for the boys basketball team. And she is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Lewis Bruno. And we'll get ready with the opening lineups. St. Joe's being introduced first. And East Brunswick will now be introduced. Ramon Trent, number 23. Brian Forte, number 32. Larry Steenvoorden, number 45. Bernie Willis, 54. And number 33, Mark Mataseski. That'll be the starting 5 for East Brunswick. And we'll get to the St. Joe's team in just a moment. I have number 12, Brian Frankfort. Number 32, Andy Gessick. Number 3, Jim Kinahan. Number 34, Mike Clegg. And number 30, Mike Riley for St. Joe's. And we're just about ready for the opening tip-off. East Brunswick, St. Joe's. Key rivalry here in the GMC. And East Brunswick controls with Mataseski. Off to Forte. Trent looking inside for Willis, back out to Steenvoorden. Looking back inside for Willis, won't go. And the Falcons will bring it down. Errant pass by Frankfort. He was looking for Riley underneath.
I'll tell you, John, we'll look out on the floor and see if we can pick it up. They appear to be playing a box and one. Number 3, Jim Kinahan, staying with Forte wherever he goes, and other people playing zone.
Ramon takes the shot, no good. Willis on the rebound, good follow-up, and East Brunswick's on top first, 2-0. This is Frankfort, he'll bring it down, being pressured. Get it off to Clegg, back to Frankfort. St. Joe's looking. Gessick hits.
And you see Gessick with that brace around his face. He broke his nose a few weeks ago, so that's for protection.
Forte just won't go. Rebound, St. Joe's, and they'll bring it up. Good defense by Brian.
No foul.
No foul called. Mataseski looking back to Forte, off the glass and off the rim. So sloppy play by St. Joe's. East Brunswick has another opportunity. Good pass from Steenvoorden to Forte. 4-2, the Bears on top. We've just started.
I tell you, the Bears looking very intense, playing good defense.
Frankfort. Kinahan. Looking inside. Foul is called. Clegg on the bucket. And we'll see who it's on. Foul's on Willis, Bernie Willis. That'll be his first team foul for East Brunswick. Kinahan will throw it in. Gessick. Kinahan outside, three-point range, no good. They're going to call a foul inside here. I believe it's on number 10, Tony Allen.
And I tell you, Coach Knoppenberger has to be pleased early on with the defense. He wanted the team to come out and challenge each shot and play a tenacious defense, and that's just what they've done up until this point.
Sorry, foul was on Riley, number 30, and they're going to call up travel against Steenvoorden. Still 4-2, first period, 5:55 to go. East Brunswick, St. Joe's. St. Joe's in the white. Gessick underneath, good pass. Missed. Riley misses, East Brunswick. Trent trying to save it.
You got to like the hustle by Trent there. I think if Mataseski would have did a bounce pass, it would have got to him a lot easier.
Frankfort and Kinahan bring it up for the Falcons. Inside to Gessick, to Riley. I'm sorry, Clegg. And we're tied at 4. Forte being pressured. Breaks through it, sees Trent underneath. Nice pass, Trent can't convert. A foul is called, however. And that's the second on Bernie Willis. They're going to call him for pushing.
And I hope this isn't a trend, John. They've missed 3 easy layups to this point, and you can't be blowing those layups when they're in that close. You got to make those baskets.
Willis comes out, Collins goes in. Willis has 2 fouls already, and we're in the first period. St. Joe's outside, the shot was good by Riley. St. Joe's on top now, 6-4. Mataseski to Steenvoorden. Steenvoorden to Trent, nice pass. Ramon puts it in.
They got Ramon playing down low, and he seems to be able to get the shots off. Now he just has to make them all fall.
Tied at 6. Steenvoorden will let it go. It'll go to East Brunswick. Forte gets it off to Trent. And Forte will take it.
Sort of a forced shot by Forte that time, unusual.
Frankfurt with the rebound. Riley back to Frankfurt. They'll get it over to Kinahan. Shot by Riley, no good. Mataseski with the rebound. He's got some room, he'll take the shot, won't go. Frankfurt on the drive, pulls up, dishes it off. Gesick now has it, and he'll put it up. Collins with the rebound. We're tied at 6 with 3:40 to go, first period. Poor pass by Trent, looking for someone cutting. Gesick, and Frankfurt catches up with it. And a nice move to get the bucket.
Frankfurt originally a 6th man for the St. Joe's team, but he's played so well they've had to start him.
Mataseski, no, off the rim. Riley, right up the middle, pass to Frankfurt. And timeout by Frank Knoppenberger. St. Joe's on top, 10-6.
Well, I'll tell you, John, a well-placed timeout by Coach Knoppenberger. East Brunswick just sort of got out of the game. They were controlling the tempo of the game, and then they sort of got sloppy. And when you get sloppy like that, this good St. Joe's team is taking advantage of it.
Well, it's been a fast-paced first period. A lot of movement back and forth, up and down the court. The ball's been exchanging hands quite a bit. Some turnovers. And East Brunswick may be forcing it a little bit.
I think they forced a few shots, and they made several bad passes. And that's the difference in the game at this point here. But they got to get back to their game plan and get back to controlling the tempo and making St. Joe's play their game. They're playing excellent defense early on, and they got to continue that.
All right, you see Coach Knoppenberger with his team. And Buzzy Landis will be going in for East Brunswick. Mataseski will take a rest. So it's Trent, Collins, Steenvoorden, Forte, and Landis for East Brunswick. They trail by 4, 10-6. 2:55 to go, first period from East Brunswick High School. East Brunswick St. Joe's. Forte looks for Steenvoorden. A little bit strong, but Trent on the rebound, and he hits.
Trent looking real strong underneath there.
And he may have found a home down low. Bears down by 2, 10-8. St. Joe's moving it around. Well-coached team. Riley to Frankfurt, to Kinahan. Riley tries the baseline, but dumps it off to Gesick, who's there. 12-8.
You can see St. Joe's is clearly a well-coached team. They have good movement on that ball, and they know how to hit the open man.
Landis pressured, and St. Joe's comes up with the steal. Riley against Collins, has to throw it up. Foul is called as Clagg comes down with the rebound. And it's called on Clagg. I don't know what that was all about.
No, I think it confused everyone.
Anyway, East Brunswick gets it back. There's Trent by himself. Off the rim. Steenvoorn, good rebound. Nice pass to Collins underneath.
Mercy. Just the Magic Johnson look there. Look one way, pass back the other way.
12-10, Bears down by 2. And a foul's going to be called on Collins, reaching in on Gesick. .135 to go. Third team foul for East Brunswick. Bears trail by 2, 12-10. Frankfurt from three-point area, off the front of the rim. Here comes Trent. No one's going to catch him.
Ooh.
And he's fouled from behind, Frankfurt. Ramon will go to the line.
Ramon gives him a Sonny Liston glare, but it was a good foul. Ramon has to go to the line and make these shots. He was clearly open for 2 points.
Brett Charleston comes in, number 52 for East Brunswick. Steenvoorn take a rest. Ramon hits his first. And he could tie it up here at 12 with this bucket. And he does. 1:20 to go, first period. John Meggiolaro and Phil Hill bringing you the action from East Brunswick High School. East Brunswick St. Joe's. St. Joe's coming in 16-2. Kinahan, Frankfurt. Good movement by St. Joe's. From the outside, hits number 3. That's Kinahan, three-pointer. Landis now off to Forte. Charleston by himself, left-handed set. It makes it 15-14. Down to 40 seconds. See if St. Joe's plays for the last shot. Moving it around. Kinahan had some thoughts. He'll try it. No good. Frankfurt with the rebound, 20 seconds. No good. Charleston with the rebound for East Brunswick. Forte drives, pulls up, takes the shot. Forced at that time. Here comes Riley. Pulls up and hits with 5 seconds. 17-14. And that'll do it. So at the end of one, it's East Brunswick 14, St. Joe 17.
Well, John, I tell you, I think Coach Knoppenberger would like to have perhaps the last 30 seconds back. He called a good timeout. East Brunswick was able to get back into the game, taking good shots. And then, again, Brian Forte with another forced shot. And we just don't see Brian do that too much. But hopefully they'll get back in the flow of things.
You know, a word that's not used often in basketball, Phil, but it does apply, and that is patience. And sometimes you need to take your time a little bit. You're back in the ball game, and pick that good shot.
That's right. And I'm sure that's what Coach Knoppenberger is telling them right now.
As we look across and see the members of the East Brunswick High School varsity cheerleaders who do an excellent job at each and every home basketball game, both boys and girls.
And I'll tell you, John, they were in competition last week, and they did very well. I don't know. I think they took first and second in 2 different categories. So they did very well.
Well, our congratulations then go out to the cheerleaders and to Coach Debbie London. And we'll start this second period. The Bears trail by 3, 17-14. Inside, Gesick outside to Frankfurt. Kinahan, three-pointer, won't go. Charleston with the rebound.
Kinahan obviously has a license to shoot that when he wants to, because he's put some up.
Charleston over the rim that time. Frankfurt, and there's that fast break that we talked about.
And you got to have a man back. You got to keep somebody back to guard against that.
St. Joe's opens a 5-point lead, 19-14. Collins, no walk is called. Charleston having trouble. The whistle's blown.
Okay. The official warning the bench. They thought they made a call there, and the official says, I'm the official here. Let me give the call.
St. Joe's will inbound. And that could be important, Phil, in this game, keeping control of it.
I think so.
St. Joe's will keep it. Touched by Forte. Gesick into Frankfurt. To Kinahan. Looking inside for Gesick. Forte needs some help. Finally gets it from Trent. Landis inside. Collins won't go that time. There's Kinahan. And Kinahan has a hot hand
He's
tonight.
a hot hand, and you don't want him to get hot. He scored 14 points the last time they played, and he's right on that path right now.
21-14 St. Joe's. Collins. And it's off his foot. Goes to St. Joe's.
Just a little out of control, John.
Tominski reports in for St. Joe's, number 14. And he'll bring it up. Tominski has it knocked out by Charleston. Steve Vorden will come in for Charleston. Inside, Riley. And they're gonna call it on Collins, number 44. That's his second. So with 6 minutes to go here in the second period, St. Joe's on top by 7, 21-14. And Dave Potter comes in, and Collins will take a seat.
And I'll tell you, John, as you look at Mike Riley on the line, it seems that St. Joe's has always had a Riley, if you think about it. But they had Mike's older brother, Jim, played for them, so they've had a Riley for 8 years straight. He's now playing at St. Joe's in Philadelphia, and I understand doing a pretty good job out there.
And Riley hits, make it 23-14. Forte tries it, won't go. Brian having a rough night thus far. It's the Falcons with the ball. Tominski to Riley. Back into Clegg for the bucket. It's just movement without the ball, Phil, nothing magical.
I believe Knopp's going to have Brian sit down and take a rest because he just seems to be out of control. And maybe if he gets a good look at himself, he'll settle down.
Ramon Trent with a three-pointer. 25-17, East Brunswick trails by 8. Shot, Riley, no good, won't go. Nice play by Landis to get it to Forte. Brian will take it himself. No foul called.
No foul. Maybe they won't sit him down. Good move by Brian there.
25-19. Here's Clegg. Potter with the rebound. Landis to Trent. Ramon will take it. Off the rim. Kinahan will bring it down. Here's Gesick. Trying to get it into Kinahan. Good play by Landis. Trent 2-on-1, tries behind the back pass. Good heads-up play, though, by Ramon Trent to Forte.
They better had picked that up. I know.
Timeout, St. Joe's. 25-21. East Brunswick down by 4.
I'll tell you, John, slightly sloppy, but nevertheless, they're back in the game. And if you think about it, they got back in the game after that three-point shot. There's been a lot of talk about the three-point play all year, and that's one of the things the three-point play has done more than anything this year, start rallies for teams. So it's helped East Brunswick right here.
Well, they certainly needed it at that point. And some good hustle by Buzzy Landis on the defensive end. And there you saw Ramon Trent make a great play, tried the behind-the-back pass. Didn't go, but was sharp enough to pick up the deflection and get it back into Brian Forte for the bucket.
And I tell you can't blame the Ramon Trent after watching that NBA All-Star game. You have no choice but to try something like that.
Coach Knoppenberger only wishes Trent had those skills. All right, we have 4:06 to go, second period. East Brunswick down now only by 4. 25-21. Dominski. And a turnover, Steenvoorden, 2-on-1. And a bucket, and that's number 35.
The whole St. Joe's bench called walk, and they said it very softly because the official has already warned them.
Jeff Gershoff, who we mentioned before in the opening, with the layup. Gesick off the rim, follow-up by Kinahan is good. Gershoff brings it up. He's from the JV team, called up because of Kyle Tenura's injury. Potter in the middle. Stolen by Kinahan. Tominski. And they're going to call a foul against Trent.
I'll tell you, they got a break there. He called it before the shot, but it could have easily been a continuation play.
Okay, and we're in that bonus situation. So it'll be 1-1 for Tominski. Makes the first, he gets the second. Gesick coming out for a rest. Larosco going in, number 42, I believe. No, I'm sorry, Durkee, number 40. (28-23). East Brunswick now trailing by 6. 3 minutes to go here in the second period. Mataseski's back in. Trent back out to Gershoff. Steenvoorden. Larry just in and out.
I'll tell you, fine, strong move by Larry, just didn't fall.
Tominski. Durkee underneath, good block by Trent.
Good block.
And the crowd's starting to get into this one.
And that's what you got to do. I think East Brunswick's got to take advantage of the crowd here and do something to get them into the game.
Potter and Gershoff take a seat. Forte comes back in along with Collins. Stolen by East Brunswick. Mataseski looking underneath for Forte. Waited a little bit too long.
Just not a good pass, John.
Forte. Brian having a tough night tonight.
Struggling this first half anyway.
Frankfurt from the top of the key. And it goes out of bounds off the rim, off the backboard rather. So it'll go over to East Brunswick. 2:20 to go, 29-23. Bears down by 6. Steenvoorden looking. Trent, Forte, back to Trent. Trent with the three-pointer. Tominski picks it up for St. Joe's. And he turns it over to Trent, who was hawking. Ramon, good pass to Mataseski. And they can't get a layup. Finally, Forte will use the glass.
In the right place.
29-25, 1:40 to go. Riley, back to Tominski. Inside to Durkee, and a foul's going to be called, I think, against Collins.
Reaching foul.
And it is Sean Collins. And I think that is his third, Phil. Yep, it is.
His third for Collins, right?
Willis comes in, and he's got 2 personal fouls. So the big men are in trouble in terms of fouls this first half.
And if they can't control their boards, they're going to be in big trouble.
Durkee at the line, hits. He'll get another. They're in the bonus situation. It's 30-25, St. Joe's by 5. And he makes the second.
Scott Durkin from East Brunswick here.
Let's see what East Brunswick can do in the remaining time. 1:15 left. Trail by 6.
Ooh.
Bryan throws it away. And Frankfurt is in, number 12. Durkee, Tominski, being pressured, gets it off to Kinahan. Frankfurt, good block. I think that was Trent again.
That's Trent, the second time in the same place where he's knocked the ball out of bounds. Good block.
Charleston will come in for Steenvoorden. Durkee fights his way. Good move, but the ball won't drop, and East Brunswick has it, 35 seconds. Coach Knoppenberger calling out BC. It's a play or a setup. Trent to Forte.
They may go one shot. I'd be surprised, but they may.
20 seconds, 31-25. Tominski with the steal, but it'll go out of bounds. Right in front of us.
No. I'm saying no to the official. The other official overruled him. Good call there.
All right.
Good call.
East Brunswick will have it, 31-25 with 15 seconds to go before half.
Bill Kucher's asking for a jump ball if they have mixed calls, but the official with the ball was obviously blocked out, and the other official called it correctly.
All right, Forte with 10 seconds. Inside, Bryan takes the step, pumps right over the hoop. 2 seconds, that'll be it. So that's the end of the first half from East Brunswick High School. And it's St. Joe's 31, East Brunswick 25. And Phil, the only comment I would have is poor shot selection more than anything else, I think, has done East Brunswick in thus far.
I'll tell you, poor shot selection by a few individuals. Bryan, we talk about Bryan a whole lot because he's so very much on usually. Today he is off. He hasn't hit metal several times, and he just needs to slow down and get himself back into the game. They're only down 6 points, John, despite all that. So if they come back out and play the type of defense that they're capable of and try to control the tempo, it's their game.
All right, and we'll see what East Brunswick comes out with in the second half. They trail 31-25, and we'll be back with the second half action in just a moment. Okay, Phil, we're about ready to start second half here, and I know that you have some stats on the players.
Yeah, we have some of the scoring here. We have for Tony Allen for St. Joe's 3 points. We have Scott Durkee with 2 points. Brian Frankfurt, who's actually the 6th man, has 6 points. Andy Gessick, 4 points. Jim Canahan has 4 points, and Mike Clegg has 4 points also. Additionally, Mike Riley has 6 points, and Bob Tominski has 2 points for St. Joseph's. For the Bears, Trent has 6 points, and Brian Forte, for all the talking we're doing about him, he has 8 points, which is leading right now. Willis has 2 points, but he also has 2 fouls. Collins has 2 points and 3 fouls. Brett Charlton has 2 points, and Jeff Gershoff has 2 points as well.
Okay, that's the scoring for the first half. East Brunswick trailing 31-25 as we get ready for the third period here from East Brunswick High School. And East Brunswick will inbound to start this third period. Forte to Mataseski. Trent looking inside for Willis, and they have him. And Phil, I really think they've got to go downtown to the big men.
I think they do. They take advantage. If they had plenty open shots, witness Ramon Trent earlier in the game, so they can get down low. They just got to put them up.
Kinahan in and out on the three-pointer. Gesick on the rebound. Someone's got to grab the pill, and it's Trent to Forte. No good. Monteseschi. And another missed opportunity for the Bears. Ooh, no foul there. Riley makes it 33-27. Monteseschi, three-pointer, won't go. Riley brings it up quickly for the Falcons. Kinahan, and he's had the hot hand, as we mentioned before.
I'll tell you, the Bears are shooting some of these three-pointers, but you got to do the basics. You got to foul them up. They're shooting the shots, but they're not fouling them up.
Good point. As East Brunswick has missed many opportunities, both on the shot and on the follow-up. Now they're moving it around. There's Willis, blocked by Gesick. He gets the rebound, however. Try it again, won't go. And everyone's standing. Finally, Trent, Ramon, and now St. Joseph's will bring it up. Riley, Steenvoorden can't stop him.
Mike Riley will go right at you. He's the guts of this St. Joe's team, and he'll take it right to you.
37-27. Trent, short. And I don't know, I may call a timeout if I were Coach Knoppenberger. Willis, good rebound to Forte. And Bryan takes it in for the layup and the bucket, 37-29. Riley, 3 points. And that hurts, it's 40-29.
Certainly does.
Steenvoorden to Willis, nice pass. And Bernie can't buy one.
I tell you, Willis did a finger roll when he had no reason to do it. All he had to do was lay it up there. He was up above the basket, just drop it in.
Forte will inbound. Landis hits. They give him the three-pointer. No, he must have stepped inside the circle. 40-31. 5 minutes to go, third period. Falcons by 9. Kicked out by Steenvoorden.
East Brunswick's got to continue that defense, John. They look a little winded, and it's early here.
Riley, nice move for the basket. 42-31. Trent, and he's fouled. And East Brunswick needs this. Foul is on Lanigan, number 50.
And I tell you, have a good look at Ramon Trent there. Came in with great expectations, and he has had a good year, but I don't think it's quite the year that everyone expected, John.
I think you're right, Phil. The transition from that varsity football to varsity basketball may have hurt a little bit. No doubt about his talent, though.
That's for sure.
St. Joe's moving it around. And they do it as well as anyone we've seen. Riley looking inside. Gesick right at the line, and he hits. And everything they're throwing up is going in, Phil.
Well, they're a good team, and you keep them in the game too much, they're going to hit those shots sooner or later, and they're hitting them now.
10-point lead for the Falcons, 44-34. Steenvoort, nice move, and he's having a good game.
He is. I've been impressed with him over the last few games. He's just gotten a lot more aggressive and just looks a lot better all the way around.
Turnaround by Langen.
Langdon got away with the walk there, but that's part of the game.
No one seems to be calling walks tonight. 46-36. St. Joe's by 10. Pass to Landis. Buzzy can't hit. Kinahan to Frankfurt. Gesick from the corner. Off the iron, picked up by Frankfurt. Kinahan. And finally, Collins pulls it down. 2-on-1. Forte to Landis.
Good pass.
And a foul is called on Frankfurt.
Nice pass by Brian Forte, and Buzzy Landis goes to the line. You see Buzzy, good-looking young kid with the Buzzy-looking hair there.
The buzz look. And Buzzy makes it a three-point play, 46-39. Gesick, nice pass to Riley. Trent right there. And they're going to call him for the foul.
A very aggressive foul by Ramon Trent.
Riley will go to the line. He'll shoot 2.
I'll tell you, John, it has nothing to do with the game, but as I look out onto the court, maybe it's in honor of Black History Month. I see we have 2 black officials, and that's something that you very rarely see. It's a change.
I didn't even notice. But you're right, Phil, and it's good to see.
Right.
And we should say these officials do work hard. They're running up and down with these kids, and many of them have seen better playing days. (48-39) as Riley hits. Puts St. Joe's lead at 9. Forte. Collins fights, no good. And Tominski finally comes down with it. And I think now Forte is trying to overcompensate.
Well, John, I have a little insight on that maybe. I know there happen to be some scouts in here, not necessarily basketball scouts, but football scouts. I don't know if they can tell by looking at a basketball game, but maybe Brian's aware of it and is pressing a little bit. I don't know.
And a foul's going to be called, backcourt foul. And I think it's going to go against Langen. No, they'll call it on Riley, number 30. That's his second. Steenvoort. Good pass from Landis. Larry will try to baseline, looking underneath for someone. And Forte saves it. Ryan. Still can't put one in off the glass. 3-on-1. Riley will take it himself. (50-39). St. Joe's by 11. 1:45 to go here in the third period. Landis, three-pointer, around and out. Here goes the break for St. Joe's. Tominski can't hold on to it, and he'll take it himself. Trent, now we have 2-on-1. Trent and Forte on Gesick. Layup by Forte. 50-41.
I'll tell you, if the Bears got a point for every time the ball went in the basket and came out, they'd be ahead in this game.
Stolen by Trent. Good pass to Forte.
Just a great pass by Trent. Just a great pass by Ramon.
And another steal, Forte. And this game has turned around. It's 50-45 rather. Timeout, St. Joe's. And just when you think you're out of it, Phil.
I'll tell you, quick hands and quick thinking that caught me off guard, John. I didn't even catch the second basket. And that can be the difference. They're down 5 points as a result of that.
They were just down by 11, and within 7 seconds they cut it, and they're down by 5 now, 45-50.
And you got to believe that this is a great opportunity for the Bears. You got to feel that they can take this game. I mean, St. Joe's has done just about everything that they have to do in order to be well ahead of this game. Nevertheless, these Bears, they just don't give up.
And that brought the crowd to its feet, and that's what East Brunswick needs. They need that sixth man. That's the crowd in this game, as there's a good crowd of visitors from St. Joe's and a good grouping of East Brunswick fans.
That's for sure.
We have 1:05 to go here in the third period. The Bears down by 5. St. Joe's will bring the ball in. A lot of pressure by the Bears. St. Joe's gets it up. Langen, Frankfurt now. Good defense so far by East Brunswick. Almost stolen by Forte. Gesick hits, and he's kept him ahead this third period.
He certainly has.
40 seconds. 7-point lead for the Falcons. Inside, Willis. Good pass underneath to Trent. Trent has everyone, and the ball drops. Geez, he had the whole St. Joe's team on his back.
Just the power move, John. Just the power move. Ramon Trent he looks sort of spindly as you look at him right there, but he's a real strong kid, actually, and he muscled that ball up between two St. Joe's defender, and now it has a chance for the three-point play.
All right. He can cut the St. Joe's lead, and he does. 52-48, 4 points. Stolen by Willis. Forte drives, won't go. But they're going to call it on Kinahan.
I'll tell you, if that would have, if 1-1, right? If that would have went in, that would have been an opportunity for a three-point play, and this crowd would have really been on their feet.
5th team foul for St. Joe's, so that means East Brunswick will be in a bonus situation at the line.
And I tell you, as you look at Brian Forte, we talked about him earlier, struggling a little bit here in this game, but he is one of the finest athletes in the state of New Jersey, no doubt about it.
Forte hits, he'll get another opportunity. 52-49, he can bring East Brunswick within a bucket. And he does. And East Brunswick putting on the pressure. Willis is on Gesick. Riley now looking for someone. Gets it down to Frankfurt, and East Brunswick back on defense, so they can't take advantage. 18 seconds. They almost throw it away.
And you can hear Coach Knoppenberger yelling for the defense to come out further.
2 seconds, stolen, Landis. Blocked. But what a third period for East Brunswick. Score 52-50, the Bears are down by 2. I don't know what you can say, Phil.
Well, I'll tell you, John, one thing you can say is defense. Defense, and that's what's turned it around. They've just been rather tenacious, and they've done everything Knoppenberger asked of them. They've gambled some, and that has taken St. Joe's certainly out of their game. The gamble has certainly paid off.
Well, you see Coach Knoppenberger, you want to know if it's serious or not, he's got his jacket off. He's writing feverishly down there, describing some plays. and you know where his heart is.
Well, I'll tell you, he said to me earlier, John, he said that this team believes in themselves. As I said before, he said he was disappointed in the record, but not in the players. But he says, these guys, he says, even if I were ready to give up, they wouldn't be. They believe in themselves, and they believe they're going to do some things. And they played a tough schedule. We said it time and time again. They played some very tough teams, and they've lost some very close games. So
there's another thing about Frank Knoppenberger that I want to mention, and that is before every game he pulls me aside and asks that I mention some particular player or something about the kids, and that's where his heart and head is.
Very caring, very caring.
All right, here we go. The last 8 minutes, the Bears down by 2. This could be a great moral victory for East Brunswick. Defense is going to be their key.
Well, I think they want the victory, not the moral victory, John.
Oh, I mean the victory. I mean, it's not going to help them in the standings, but winning here will really help them for the rest of the year and for next year. Inside, St. Joe's looking for Gesick, and they find him. 54-50. St. Joe's playing a 2-1-2 zone. They're going to make East Brunswick take those outside shots. Kicked by Frankfurt.
And I tell you, the third quarter players for each team was Mike Riley, who scored 11 points in that quarter, and Brian Forte, who scored 10 for East Brunswick.
Trent. Willis on the follow-up. East Brunswick unable to cash in. There's Riley. They need someone in his face. 56-50 rather. 6-point lead now.
He's just a gutsy player, as I said before. He's
timeout. East Brunswick.
And I think that's a good timeout. Knoppenberger does not want to let things slip out of hand here. They're not playing as tenacious as they were during the third quarter, and he wants to make sure they get back to that. And maybe they're a little fatigued from that very rugged third quarter. So he's giving them another break here, as well as giving them instruction.
That's a good point, Phil. I think you're right. They're down by 6, 56-50. 6:50 to go in the game. And just when we thought East Brunswick may fade out of this, they come back with a flurry.
They seem to come back, and you got to like it.
All right, East Brunswick will have it. Steve Warden will throw it in. Forte looks underneath the Landis.
Oh, he
partially blocked.
He was clobbered.
No call. Good pass, Riley to Clag. 8 unanswered points for St. Joe's. Trent, move on Riley. Will take the jumper. Nowhere to be found. Puts another one up and is fouled. Foul is on Clag, number 34. And he'll do a little housekeeping before Ramon takes his shots.
We got official Fred Hart wiping up some moisture on the floor to make sure that no one slips on it and hurts himself.
Trent looking over at the crowd. Some of the St. Joe's fans yelling air ball.
Well, he's had a few today.
Tough crowd.
Very tough.
6:19 to go. East Brunswick trails by 6.
Great defense.
They box out on Frankfurt. He somehow gets it away. 3-on-1. Foul on Steenvoorten, and he couldn't do much more than that.
I'll tell you, East Brunswick showing very tough defense. They had the young fellow boxed in here. Somehow he got out of it. Could have been an offensive foul, but nevertheless, it wasn't called. And Mike Riley, who has been a thorn in East Brunswick's side this afternoon, is at the line.
This is the first, 58-52.
Coach Kuchar says Mike is different from his brother. His brother was thin and quiet. He's chunky and loud.
It's the second, 59-52. St. Joe's by 7 with 6 minutes to go. Forte looking for someone, throws it away. Frankfurt on the drive and the layup. Forte all the way, won't go. Steenvoorden with the tip, won't go.
Well, I'll tell you, I hate to say it again, I haven't seen Brian have a game like this. He's pushed up some shots that just just pushed up.
Riley, 5 seconds.
Official timeout.
And it looks like Ramon Trent has hurt an ankle.
Could be a cramp, John, I don't know.
Brad Charleston comes in. And Ramon will be looked at on the sideline by Rochelle Moffitt, one of the trainers here for East Brunswick, or assistant trainers, if you will. Riley forces one. Clag underneath, has it stolen by Steenvoorden. And we mentioned what a game Steenvoorden's having tonight.
He's just come on, he really has.
Larry, nice move to the basket, just can't get it up enough to get over that rim, and Frankfurt will take it on the drive. Won't go, and Forte has it. We got a 4-on-2. Steenvoorden, and he's fouled by Gesick.
It was somewhat of an aggressive foul, but nothing out of the ordinary. You see Larry Steenvoorden at the line, and we talked about what a game he has. He hasn't scored an awful lot of points, but he's been in the thick of things.
Collins comes in. Willis will take a seat. And Steenvoorden goes to the line. East Brunswick trails by 9, 61-52. 4:50 to go in the game. Larry hits. Makes the second, 61-54. Good pressure by East Brunswick. Kinahan. Forte, they're gonna call him for kicking. Gesick. Kinahan, three-pointer.
That hurt.
64-54, the lead's now back to 10. And Frank Knoppenberger will call timeout. Well, we'll look for that flurry.
Well, they just got to hope that they have to gamble, do some things in order to get back in the game.
As we ask Dave Ambrosi, our cameraman, to swing over to the St. Joe's side of the bench.
I'll tell you, we want to talk about the veteran coach, Bill Kuchar. John, he's been coaching for 29 years, 17 at St. Mary's in Jersey City and 12 years at St. Joseph's. Next year, sometime, he's going to hit his 500th victory. So he's been doing it for a long time for St. Joe's, and one of the finer coaches in Middlesex County.
And one of the finer gentlemen around.
He is.
All right, we have 4:35 to go in the game. East Brunswick trailing by 10, 64-54. They'll have the ball. Trent back in. Apparently his ankle's okay. Collins from the paint, won't go. Gesick on the rebound. Here comes Riley. Pulls up, takes the shot. No traveling is called.
This Riley is awful tough. He's the Brian Forte of the St. Joe's team. He just, the heart and soul of it.
Trent off the pick. Collins, and he's fouled from Gesick, by Gesick from behind.
I tell you, they have Trent in there, but he's rather tentative if you look at him, John. He's, I think he's in there with his heart, but I think his leg just isn't really going to hold up on for him.
And there you see Ramon. Went into the locker room, I believe, to have his ankle taped, but he's not 100%. Collins goes to the line, Sean Collins. Sean is a senior. And East Brunswick's gone cold. 12-point lead for St. Joe's, 66-54. Riley goes around Forte and is fouled by Collins.
And again, Riley has done everything for St. Joe's. But John, you think back, East Brunswick seemed to have gone cold, but I think that third period, they expanded so much energy in getting back into the game. I think it really took a lot out of them and left them rather listless. They just haven't been the same.
Well, let's not take any credit away from St. Joe's. They played a tough game.
That's for sure.
They came back after losing that 10-point lead, and they could have folded. Came right back doing what they do well, moving the ball. Guess it got hot. Riley pumped in a few, and they moved out ahead. And they're going to stay out ahead, it appears. As Riley goes to the line, his second, 68-54 and a 14-point lead for St. Joe's with 3:35 to go in the game. Willis, stolen by Riley. He's got a free rein to the basket. Trent, nice move, 70-56. Frankfurt, Kinahan. And Trent ties him up, but they'll call him for a foul. Ramon Trent trying to make something happen. And Doug Alongi will check in as Frankfurt takes a rest.
And Frankfurt's played a fine game for St. Joe's.
Well, no doubt you can see why they're 16-2. Always a fine program. And we're talking about St. Joe's. And always a good rivalry, these two teams. Clack underneath, nice move getting around Willis. 72-56. 16 points now. Forte on the jumper. That was a bucket by Larosco, as St. Joe's is putting in some new players now with 2:19 to go in the game. And a foul will be called on Clegg. Boys tends to think he's innocent out there as a reaction for every foul that's called on him.
Always that way.
That's his third. Brian will have 2 shots. Kinahan comes out. Had a very good game tonight. East Brunswick pressuring. And they're going to call
turnover.
Turning the ball over on Alongi. 2:09. 14-point lead for St. Joe, 74-60. Three-pointer. Trent. Forte underneath on the pass from Mataseski. 74-62. Timeout, East Brunswick. What do you say at this point, Phil?
Well, you tell them still you don't want them to get sloppy. You better believe Knoppenberger's still telling them that the game's not over. Of course, you have the three-point shot that comes into prominence at this point in time, and I think if they want to get back into it, they got to take some chances and put up some three-pointers. And one thing is very clear, they just don't go as deep as the St. Joseph's team. St. Joseph's goes 8 and 9 deep, and when you can do that, you can substitute and be stronger towards the end of the game. East Brunswick just sort of gave out during that fourth period, and they got fatigued because they put out an awful lot of energy, as I said, in that third period, just trying to stay with St. Joe's.
Okay, we have 1:49 left in the game, 74-62. St. Joe's with a 12-point lead. When last these two teams met, St. Joe's won by 20, 85-65. And as you see, East Brunswick put on that tough defense. Alongi gets through, and that's nice block by Trent. But basket by LaRosco. 76-62. Now 64.
I think they'll give that one to Willis probably.
Tominski right over the basket. Steenvoorden with the rebound. Nice pass. Steenvoorden to Mataseski.
Forte.
10-point lead now, 76-66. And that's what happens when you put on that press. Someone's free, and LaRosco puts it in. And East Brunswick can't afford to trade baskets. They've got to do a little bit better than that. 50 seconds to go. Tominski, and a foul by Steenvoorden before the shot. And some joyous St. Joe's fans behind us singing.
A very weak da-da-da-da.
And Ernie Rehack comes in. That's who they've been calling for.
And Ernie, he's akin to Red Auerbach lighting up the cigar, I suppose.
So when Ernie comes in, the game's in the bag, huh? Honestly, I have nothing to report on Ernie, other than that he plays center, he's a junior, and he's 6'5". And he wears number 54 for St. Joe's. Forte brings it up quickly. Mataseski, three-pointer. Forte on the rebound. Won't go. And Riley's still in there, and he comes down with it. And they're going to call a foul on Mataseski. .37 seconds left in the game. 80-66. St. Joe's by 14.
And Riley has 25 points in the game already, and he's at the line getting ready to perhaps add to that.
And Potter comes in as Willis will take a seat, and Charleston will come in for Steenvoorden, I believe.
And a lot of substitution going on right now, John, getting some of the younger players in. And Brian Forte comes out of the game, and we talked about it. He struggled, but nevertheless, he's finished with, let's see, 18 with 26 points.
So despite the rough time, Forte and Riley hits.
And they're tied for the lead in the game right now.
Dwayne Taylor is in for East Brunswick, number 51. And this is just a little icing. Taylor with the rebound. Gershoff. Trent, three-pointer. No good off the rim. Larosco with the rebound to Riley. 23 seconds. Alongi dumps it off to Ernie. And Ernie hits.
And Ernie scores. Everybody's happy.
And it's off East Brunswick, so it'll go to St. Joe's with 7 seconds. And as we run off the last 7 seconds, I want to say that this is our last telecast of boys basketball. It's been an interesting season. Phil, it's been enjoyable to work with you, and of course, Jimmy, as we get a steal from Trent, and that'll do it. The final from East Brunswick High School, St. Joe's 83, East Brunswick 66. And Phil, it didn't look that bad. You know, the score really, East Brunswick wasn't blown out, as some people might say when they read the box score tomorrow.
They weren't blown out. I think they're just tired out. I keep saying that, John, and that has to do with how deep you can go. St. Joe's was able to go a lot deeper on the bench. Again, the Bears expended a lot of energy just trying to stay in the game. I think they played as well as they possibly could, and you can't really ask for a lot more. I think this East Brunswick team is going to be a lot better. I think they are perhaps going to be a spoiler in early rounds of the county tournament. And the St. Joe's, as you can see, is a good team. They're on a streak right now, and Coach Kucharge is just hoping that they can stay hot for the tournaments that are about to come up.
Okay, St. Joe's improves their record to 17-2, while East Brunswick falls to 8-13, something that we're not accustomed to, particularly over the last several years. But I think you're right, Phil. I think that in the makings, there's some good basketball coming our way. And when I say our way, that's the East Brunswick fans, because the JV team has had an exceptional year. The freshman team, the 8th grade team, I think any team so far in playing basketball in East Brunswick is having a super year, and that's going to feed that varsity program.
You're exactly right. They just have good systems here, and those good systems are going to pay off. In addition, they got some very talented young individuals.
All right, and I ask everyone to stay with me because I have a special guest, and we'll be right back in just a moment. Well, I'm pleased to have with us Larry Steenvoorden. Larry's co-captain of this East Brunswick team. Larry, it was a tough night tonight, but overall you had a super game.
Yeah, I thought at the end of the third quarter it was 52-50, and then they came out with this streak of about 6 points, and then just, I don't know, something, the air got out of the balloon, and just 4 minutes left. I don't know, we didn't give up, but, you know, we saw our fate right there. We really did. So it's been a tough season. You know, Mr. Knopf's gone through a lot of things. You know, graduation hurt us with Berliner, Seattle's on. You can't really replace them. So, you know, it's a little inexperience, a couple bad breaks, you know. But overall, we did pretty good.
I want to talk about Larry Steenvoorden. Larry, we saw you mature this year. You feel real comfortable on the court. You're playing some exceptional basketball. And tonight, I think, is one of the best games I've seen from you in terms of being at both ends of the court.
Right. Well, last year I had a role, which was with Berliner. And this year I felt like I had to take more of the scoring and just become more of a leader as a senior out there. And then, like you said, the last couple of games I've learned, I got the feel of it with Forte and giving me the ball outside and going to the hoop. I just felt a lot better. It's a lot better, you know.
Okay, and what's in the future for Larry Steenborn?
Well, to tell you the truth, I really don't know yet. At Villanova, I hope maybe a intramural basketball, you know, or I play for Wally Massimino. I called him up, but he never got back in touch with me, so.
Well, Larry, you've provided us with a lot of thrills over the years. No one can ever question your dedication, your hustle, your desire. I know this team is going to miss you next year in terms of your leadership. We've enjoyed having you, having covered you over the last couple years. Good luck to you in your future.
Thank you. You guys did a great job, too.
Thank you very much. That's it here from East Brunswick High School. East Brunswick losing tonight to St. Joe's. For Phil Hill, I'm John Meggiolaro saying good night and thanks for being with us.